Well, in the past 24 hours, Johnson & Johnson, a big player on the stock market, took a tumble following this pause on the COVID vaccine in the
The
U.S.
pharmaceutical company can be commonly found in a lot of people's portfolios, particularly in their retirement plans. Daniel Rogers is the Associate Professor of Finance at Portland State University. He joins us live this morning to talk about how this could have an impact on the stock market and the economy. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what do you think we're going to see here? More continued kind of upheaval or some bumpy ride here for Johnson & Johnson on the stock market with this news?
Well, so far, interestingly, with Johnson & Johnson, they are supplying this vaccine at cost. So really, there's no profit implications for the company so really their inability to supply doesn't hurt their profit. But the question is more, does this affect their reputation? So they have a lot of other products, and so it's seemingly the decline in their stock price, which hasn't been huge. I mean, let's face it, a general rule of thumb is kind of in a given day, if a stock moves somewhere between -2 and +2%, yeah, those are big moves, but they're not abnormal. And so yesterday, I think Johnson & Johnson closed down about 1.3%, and they're down, I think, over 1% today. So those are sizable moves, and it is a component of the Dow, so it is notable. But mostly, this seems like a reputational effect, and hopefully, the FDA is able to sort things out, and Johnson & Johnson can get their vaccine back to the market to provide supply. One of the key things is obviously J&J was the last one to the table in the U.S., so Pfizer and Moderna beat them. And so they're the primary vaccine suppliers right now. Johnson & Johnson is more of a secondary supply. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects kind of the markets where I think the government was hoping to use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine more. So folks who really just want to get one shot, or individuals who may be harder to really get the vaccine to. So it'll be interesting to watch the whole supply chain process.
Yeah, and so what should people be watching out for if the Johnson & Johnson is in their retirement portfolio, for example?
Well, once again, as I said, that the vaccine disruption shouldn't really have a material impact on Johnson & Johnson's financial outlook. So really, I think this short-term reputational hit, I think, will be short-lived. So I wouldn't be personally worried if this is a significant portion. And in terms of its overall percentage weight in portfolios, this is why we own diversified portfolios. It's like, this is a small disruption in portfolios. Other aspects are doing fine. So, really in the bigger picture, there doesn't seem to be a vaccine disruption. So if this happened with, say, Pfizer or Moderna, that could have an effect on the overall economy reopening, kind of the plans to get things moving forward again, and that could have a bigger overall stock market hit. But the Johnson & Johnson seems like a smaller impact economically and also on the stock market.
Yeah, so Daniel, when we take a step back and take a bigger look at the economy as a whole, when you have these safety issues being investigated with Johnson & Johnson, with AstraZeneca and other countries, the economy is really kind of fragile right now. So if we have more bumps in the road with this vaccine rollout, are we going to hit a point where we see some real long-term economic impact?
Well, that'll be interesting. I mean, once again, I'm not a scientist, so the science is out of my league. But the reality is, over the last 10 months, our economy has shown an interesting resiliency in terms of learning to live with what's going on, and there is a significant chance that you think about the vaccine hesitancy. One of the concerns about a vaccine problem is, will that increase vaccine hesitancy? So will that affect the ability for the economy to fully recover? And that's could be fragile, but that's something to kind of monitor over time. But over the last, say, 10 months, we have shown a lot of resilience, at least in the US. Now, Europe has been more prone to lockdowns and as cases come and go. So it'll be interesting to watch this. And yeah, it's once again, this is a stay tuned
Okay.
for more developments.
Well, Associate Professor of Finance at PSU, Daniel Rogers, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, you're welcome.